Okay. Awesome. So we are live. We are live here on Instagram and we are live on Facebook. How are you? I hope you're well. My name is Odessa, womb wellness. I help women over the age of 30 to increase their chances of conceiving in the next 12 months, especially if you have been struggling to get pregnant over the last 2 years and are looking for specifically natural support and someone to hold your hand and walk through the process with you. And I do this through my 12-week program, Fertility Secrets and Womb Wisdom. Today, I want to talk with you all about 3 reasons why your doctor's opinions about your body may be wrong. So go ahead, call your friends, call your girlfriends, send the messages, pass the link, and let them know that Odessa's on and she's about to start. I would love it if you could do that. So, if you've been watching or listening to my series of videos of recordings, I've been talking a lot about, just different ways women can start to change and shift their mindset, their mind frames around themselves, how they view their bodies, how they view their experience as women, and how they approach their fertility journey. Doctors have a lot of scientific information and data. Doctors have a lot of information about, or a lot of ways to gather information about what's going on in your body, right? They've got, technology, a blend of technology and science that can really, it goes deep and it really does help us to get clear on what's happening in your body. You have an MRI scan, you have a CT scan, CAT scan, you have, oh man, I'm seeing like the different images. You have X-ray, you have ultrasound, you have, and then you've got like your internal testings, then you have like your blood testings, and then you have like your specific levels that you're looking for. You're checking for your hormones, are you checking your endocrine system, are you checking your, you know what I mean? Like which system are you checking? So they have a lot of information that they apply to their 2 specific cases. They're trauma and crisis specialists, what I call them, because if there's an issue, that's where we need to go, right? But they do, miracles are not the basis of their work, right? Mindset and miracles are not necessarily the basis of their work, right? So based off of that, people in general, when they go to see doctors, they will generally put all of their trust in them. Right? I kind of call it like the God complex, It's like when you see doctors, or not even just see, but when you're interacting with doctors, lawyers, judge, police officers, people tend to have a certain level of fear almost, or they kind of give them like the God complex, or the level of God, with a little G. And so we take their word as gold, as a final say, because they have a particular status, because, they do the work that they do, and they do it, and they live how they live. We automatically give them permission to tell us what we should do, and how to, go through the process. And if they say, this is just what it is, we usually take it, at face value and don't move on. And it's for good reason, you know what I mean? Like based off of how we were as people living in society, doctors, let's keep in mind, like they're studying for a minimum of 5 to 6 years, right? And then if they decide to go into their a specialty, right, there's another, 3 to 5 years that they're going to do, maybe 6 years. And then there's also rotation, right? So some of these doctors that are coming out of med school have been doing their work for, 10, 12 years. They've been studying full time for 10 to 12 years. So we're not taking anything away from this. But I am pointing out that they're basing most of their education, a lot of their education is based off of science. And science isn't based off of the science that exists now, right? Doctors that are trained now were not trained like the doctors in the Renaissance time. And doctors in the Renaissance time, all of the doctors in the Renaissance time had to know pseudosciences. They had to know medical astrology. They had to know iridology. Like, this was the standard for doctors, right? They had to know this. And so and they had to study for years to know this. And so what they did was, everything was separated. You had spirit, which was put over there, and science, which was put over here, right? And so this break happened. And so here we have our specialists. You're going to see the one doctor, go and see the other doctor, and going to see a third doctor, and everyone is telling you that nothing is related. Western doctors don't really know health at all. Western doctors are trained to be more scientifically, and proof fact oriented, which discounts the multi-layers of an individual being. Like, I have, clients who come to talk to me about somatic issues, mind, like connections that happen to them, things that happen to them. But when they go to see their doctors, they're told it's all in their mind, or that it's not true. You're just, you're hypochondriac. You know what I mean? But when you come from a psychospiritual perspective, when you come from, a multi-layered perspective, you understand that there's more to it. So doctors base their information off of statistic-based studies, right? So like clinically controlled studies, usually controlled studies. Sometimes they're not. Qualitative, quantitative research, all kinds of stuff, right? So, but what they do is they throw away pseudoscience. That's what they do, and I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. Like, if it looks a certain way, or you're trained a certain way, especially when we really have to look at the origins. Greetings on YouTube. We really have to look at the origins of where science is coming from, where medicine, from today is coming from, and how it has developed itself, because we are basing our liberty, our liveliness, our ability to thrive off of what these doctors are saying. And like, let's just be real, okay? Doctors are not studying nutrition for very long. They may do 6 months of nutrition, right? So food is medicine. Food is medicine. Doctors are not studying food medicine unless they're taking a specialty after they've graduated, right? Like, they're going to prescribe you synthetic medication, allopathic medication. Okay, so we just have to just like put this there, because we're not discounting, we're not discrediting, our primary caregivers, but we also have to recognize, like, they are focused on a particular style of medicine, a particular style of working with their clients, right? Of healing and of treating symptoms, right? Where they're not necessarily looking for the root cause. I just want to say that. So this is making lots of instances of miraculous behaviors fly under the radar or be completely wiped off of the screen. That's what this is creating. That's what happens, right? Because then you have people who walk with faith, who live in faith, who move with faith, who come around doctors, who try to do their thing, and the doctors are telling them differently, but they're showing up and their lives have changed. The body is miraculous. I have been saying it, I will continue to say this. And so what happens, right, when your doctor tells you, well, you can't get pregnant because A, B, C, or D, or quote unquote, unexplained infertility. And by the way, what is that? What really is that? And so, then what gets discounted are, I call them anomalies, right? And I use the term loosely, but you have, women who are pregnant and getting pregnant with a second baby while they're pregnant. So you have twins, but they're fraternal. You know what I mean? You have women who are ovulating twice, or ovulating outside of their regular ovulation time, and they're getting pregnant. You have people who have absolutely no menstrual cycles. You know what I mean? Or completely irregular menstrual cycles, like myself, very irregular menstrual cycles. And I remember the doctor at the fertility clinic, she was like, how are you getting pregnant? How are you getting pregnant? Right? So 3 reasons why your doctor's opinion about your body might be wrong. Greetings, give thanks for that love. And the first reason that really comes to mind is that, like, the body is miraculous. And the second reason is the doctors have been trained in a particular form of approaching the body that doesn't include the multi-layers, right? So taking a pill and not understanding how it's going to affect your body is not helping you, right? When something is wrong with you, instead of, nowadays, more of our primary caregivers are suggesting that, we make lifestyle adjustments. But usually we're, as women who are coming to them with hormonal issues, with fertility issues, with all these problems that we're experiencing, they're going to suggest that we take some kind of artificial synthetic hormone. They're going to suggest that we take NSAIDs, which are painkillers. They're going to suggest that we go the route of their protocols, but this discounts, a lot of the other things that we can do. So Occidental medicine, before Occidental medicine, natural medicine existing, really encompassed everything. And so I want us to really consider this, because we're taught what to think. We're not taught how to think. We are taught what to think. And we believe what we're taught to think. We're not taught how to think, right? So I want you to remember this when you are going to see your doctor, because you were taught how to think. Your body was taught how to be, how to exist based off of what you taught it. You taught it based off of your thoughts. You taught it based off your actions, off of your emotions, off of your motivations, all of these things. So I want you to really think about this, right? Like, what is it that you have been teaching your body to think? What is it that you have been taught to think about your body? How are you training yourself, right, to think? What do you need to start thinking? How do you need to start thinking now? And what combination of things do you need to be able to overcome? Because when somebody of influence tells us something, we tend to hold near and dear to it, right? We tend to hold near and dear to it. So I want you to really think about that, because once you understand the laws of the universe, once you understand natural laws of the universe that govern us, what goes up comes down, what goes out comes back, what you give, you get. When you understand that and you begin to apply this to your life, when you begin to shift your mindset and how you approach your body, how you approach your fertility, how you approach your reproduction, how you approach preparing for pregnancy, when you do all of these things from a mindful perspective, your ability to not internalize the information that you're giving is very different. When you're approaching your body, your experience, you're not filled with the negative perspective or the negative nuances or the ambiguous nuances. You know what I mean? I've gone to the doctor sometimes and, be like, or like sitting in the dentist's office in a chair, she'd be like, and it's like, okay, so, thanks. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go home and I'm going to think about what you told me, and I might just live my life based off of that. And if I don't have the impetus, I may not even get a second or third opinion. So we have to be really, really careful, right? Because the why, when, where, and how of what we're thinking requires a different way of processing. And so you can't be superficial about this. You can't be superficial about your body. You can't be superficial about how you come to your primary caregivers. You can't be superficial about how you treat yourself. And that's what we all tend to be doing. We all tend to be doing it. So people are coming around and they're telling us what to do and what to think, and we're doing that. We're not questioning it. We're not questioning it, right? So I want you to really put this in your mind. I want you to really start thinking, like your doctor's opinions about your body, they may be wrong. They may be wrong. There are miracle babies that are born all the time, and not just miracle babies after miscarriages, after, terminated pregnancies for illness, after miracle babies happen when the doctor said you couldn't get pregnant in the first place, right? So when you're basing things off of science can't quantify the spiritual. Science can't quantify the mind. Science can't, it can quantify energy. It quantifies energy, but the way that, the way that science is translating energy, right? Like when you're looking at Carl Jung, you know what I mean? And his theories and how he's developing his work, or how he had developed his work, excuse me. Right? So I want you all to really think about that. We want to start arriving at our primary caregivers with a strategy in hand. You want to have a strategy in hand, because the opinions that everyone is giving you, right? Because the third thing, if you're doing the work, right? If you're doing the work to boost your mineral deficiencies, if you are eliminating your environmental toxins, and you are boosting your mineral deficiencies, and you are focused on raising your vibration, and you're doing all of the things, right? This is the third thing. Like, you can completely do the exact opposite of what your primary caregiver has told you, or has diagnosed you with, or has left you with. So here you are thinking that you can't conceive, you can't build your family, you can't move forward, you don't have a chance, but you do. And that's what I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you that with your strategy in hand, before going there, get on your mind. Before going there, after going there, before going to your second, opinion, just get on your grind. When you're going to a job for an interview, you study, right? You find out what the company values are. You find out, what the values are. You find out what people are doing, who the people are who are going to be interviewing you, what they need, what they expect from you, what's expected of the job. Same thing. If you are going up to bat, you're trying to prepare your body to get pregnant in the next 12 months. And here you are showing up. You don't want to exercise. You eat processed foods all day. You don't like to drink water. You barely eat any fruit. You have conditions that you haven't been treating. You're in a relationship that isn't healthy for you. You know what I mean? I'm just here just talking all the things. I want us to all know and put it out there, put it in the air. Let's just get it out there. We want you to go there with a fighting chance. You want to show up there prepared, right? Because once again, when you're hearing something coming from your primary caregiver, when you hear something as a child coming from your doctor, it's coming from your mother, coming from, somebody in an authoritative state, an authoritative position, we take that shit seriously, right? So you need to show up. You need to show up, and you need to be ready. You need to have your strategy ready in hand. This is what I'm doing to increase my fertility. This is what I've been doing. This is what I've studied. These are the researchers that I've done. These are the other doctors that I'm quoting. These are the practitioners you have to come up there and you have to know, because their opinions about your body may be wrong, right? If science can't quantify a miracle, neither can your doctor, right? Unless your doctor is faith-based and doesn't necessarily mean Christian or religious or, Muslim, whatever, right? But you yourself, you have to know. Your doctor might not think so, but you have to know that. Your doctor might be science-based, but you can be science-based too, but you have to have that faith in yourself. Your doctor will be making suggestions of things that you can be doing to increase your fertility or not, but you should be doing the research to know what's going on as well too, because you cannot allow someone else to dictate how your physical being is going to work. We know for a fact that your cells change. Your vibration changes when you are able to raise your mind, your thoughts, and the quality of your body through the food and the medicine that you're using. You are not stuck on the diagnosis and the opinions that your primary caregivers are giving you. The body is miraculous. It's miraculous. And I want you to know this. I want you to know this. So I want you also to know that, within the 3-month womb cleanse that I'm offering, this is a container that has been created for women to step into. Okay? It's a container that was created for women to step into, to be able to release and relax, Take away the stresses that have been bothering you, and you can divest yourself of them so you can focus and hone in more on what it is that you need to do to step into rhythm and alignment with yourself, to do all of the things to be able to increase your chances of conceiving, right? So we dig deeper into each month. We look more at, what is needed for your internal and external cleanse, and how can you map that out? What does this mean? How does it look? And how do you interpret what's going on with your body? Because what's happening spiritually is happening physically. What's happening mentally is affecting you emotionally. And the emotions are driving you in your mind, right? And that's going to drive your actions, right? So if you can understand that the issue that you're having in this organ is reflecting in this emotion, that's reflecting in this particular area of your life, and it shows up in this particular character trait that you have, it's all connected. So we start off the program walking through this. We start off the program, the first phase, walking through your map, really getting an idea and understanding, a clarity of what it is that you have to do to map your journey, your womb cleanse journey. In the second phase, we dive deeper. And you guys will hear me talk a lot about women stepping into their rhythm and alignment, because it's the truth. We spend way too much time pushing and pulling and fighting and trying to be masculine qualities, right? And be forceful in a masculine environment, when that is not how we can effectively show our strength. And that's important. I was recently another deep dive call with a client, and I was explaining to her, I said, like, you've been in this work for a long time, and your mind is conditioned to approach, your tasks from a particular experience based off of the fact that you are you work with a group of men. Men work and think very, and they approach their tasks differently than women do. And they have less other things to think of, like, example, emotional fluctuations from your hormones or your menstrual cycle, or, you're getting pregnant and you're sick. Like, they don't have to think about these kinds of things. They don't have, and they say that physiologically speaking, part of that has to do with the placement of their reproductive system. Like, whereas the are on the outside of the body, right? So there's more of a need to defend that. And whereas the ovaries are located on the inside of the body, and that's more of a nurture and care and hidden aspect, right? So if a woman is approaching the work like that, there's a certain level of depletion that you're going to have, because it's not your natural nature to go, 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 be forceful. You know what I mean? So we walk through that and we get more clarity in that, like, what is going on with your cycle? What are the best practices for your cycle? You know what I mean? What elements, earth, air, water, fire, ether, do you lack? Do you need more of? What kind of foods, fruits, vegetables, carbs, proteins, fats, right? Do you need more? Like, we really break this down. And in the third phase, right? So I talked about the first and the second phase. In the third phase of the program, we walk through hands-on, y'all. I've been studying hands-on work for a really, really, really long time. And self-care is so important. I have been trying to find ways to encourage and educate women on how to care for their bodies. How can you massage your body? How can you activate your body? Y'all, I have this candle here that I wanted to light, and I realized I didn't light the candle. I'm lighting it now. So how can you connect to your body? How can you connect cellularly? What is touch? How can you give yourself that nourishing touch? How am I touching myself? How can I be present to my physical body through touch and interpret what's happening? How can I be present to my physical body through touch and encourage more stimulation? How can I be more present to my sensuality sexuality, and all of my yumminess, and be healing at the same time. Y'all, the bomb method, that's what we're doing in the third phase. And I am really, really excited to be able to offer this work. So this is years of exploration. This is years of getting myself out of my own ruts, my own reproductive ruts. For those of you who are familiar with my story, I've shared it a few times. Specifically in my postpartum phase, I had an extremely, extremely difficult time with my body.